The screaming shattered the dawn. Selene bolted upright, silver hair cascading over her shoulders as her hand found the crown of creation. The ancient artifact pulsed with alarm. Something was terribly wrong. In the war room, Captain Theron spread blood-stained reports across the table, his scarred hands trembling. 3 villages, 18 dead, 47 missing. His voice cracked. They came through rifts, tears in reality itself. Demons, Your Majesty, moving like trained soldiers. They took people in sacks and stripped every storehouse bare. Ice flooded Selene's veins. Beside her, Caspian's hand found hers. The bodies, Theron swallowed hard. They weren't just killed, they were partially consumed, as if something was so desperately hungry it started eating them on the spot. Empress Emeritus Luna gasped, one hand flying to her mouth. 18 of our people eaten like livestock? Emperor Emeritus Valerius, Selene's grandfather, slammed his fist on the table. How did demons breach our borders without warning? Where was the patrol system I spent 3 centuries perfecting? The rifts opened without magical signatures, something we haven't encountered since the Age of Darkness. Selene stared at the map of her kingdom, her people, her responsibility, and felt the weight of the crown settle heavier than ever before. Then we'd better be ready, she said quietly, because they'll be back. Chapter 1. They came again on the 14th night. 6 villages simultaneously. 43 dead, 96 missing. Selene insisted on seeing it herself. The village of Millhaven had been home to 300 souls. Now it looked like a nightmare come to life. Blood splashed on the walls, drag marks leading to empty air where the rifts had opened. The copper smell of death mixed with something wrong that made her dragon senses recoil. Every food source stripped bare, Captain Theron said quietly. Grain from locked cellars 3 stories underground, even the seed corn for next year's planting. In the town hall cellar, they had captured one alive. The demon was skeletal, not thin, skeletal, as if someone had stretched translucent gray skin over jutting bones. Its ribs protruded so sharply she could count every one. Hollow eyes burned with fever-bright desperation. It lunged at her, chains snapping taut, jaws snapping. But there was no real strength, just desperate instinctive hunger. After a moment, it collapsed, panting. It keeps trying to eat the guards, like it can't control itself. Selene knelt slowly, staying just out of reach. Where do you come from? The demon's eyes focused with sudden, terrible intelligence. When words came, they were broken, desperate. Hungry. So hungry. Always hungry. Forever hungry. Centuries of hunger. Millennia. Grandmother starved to death. Grandfather starved. Mother, father, everyone starving. Always starving. How long? Selene whispered. Always. The word came out like a prayer and a curse. Born hungry, live hungry, die hungry. Ate the workers when food ran out. When workers were gone, we ate each other. Its voice rose to a shriek. Nothing left. Land dead. Water poison. Everything is dead for 10,000 years. Must eat. Must survive. Must. It lunged again, and this time she saw it clearly. The demon wasn't looking at her as a person. It was looking at her as food, as calories, as a way to silence the endless screaming in its belly. It's not just insane from recent hunger, Caspian said, studying the demon with his scholar's eye. Look at the bone structure. This is genetic. Generations, maybe centuries of starvation that's literally changed them. This creature has never known what it feels like to be full. None of them has. Empress Emeritus Luna whirled on him, fury cracking her composure. I don't care if it's genetic. They're eating people, Caspian. Our people. Right now, someone's daughter is waiting to be devoured. You're both right, Selene said, standing. This is absolutely horrific, and our people are terrified. But there's something deeper happening here. Something that turned people into this. She looked at the collapsed demon. "We need answers, fast." She turned to Caspian. "How long?" "Give me a week to be thorough." "You have 3 days, because that's when they'll attack again." Chapter 2. Caspian didn't sleep for 72 hours. On the third night, his eyes were bloodshot and wild when Selene found him surrounded by ancient texts, written in languages only he could read. "I found it," he said hoarsely. "The Abyss, their homeland." He spread maps across the table. A realm of shadow and twilight, but unmistakably thriving. Cities rose against dark skies, fields spread in geometric patterns. 10,000 years ago, the Abyss was harsh but sustainable. The demons had a complete civilization. What happened? Catastrophe. Caspian's hands shook as he pulled out timelines. The realm started dying. Wild game went extinct, crops failed, water turned toxic, the soil itself began to die. He met her eyes. They had a food source. Feeder demons, a subspecies they'd bred as livestock, like we have cattle. Disgust rippled through the room. "Before you judge," Caspian said quietly, "consider that we do the same thing. They just looked more like them." He shook his head. "But that's not the point. The feeders went extinct. The demons tried everything, appealed to gods, to other realms, massive magical rituals. Nothing worked. So they started eating each other," Emperor Emeritus Valerius said quietly. "First, the workers. 5,000 years of rationing them like livestock. Then," Caspian's voice dropped to a whisper, "then they had no choice. The population collapsed from 2 million to 50,000. 400 generations surviving by consuming their own dead, their own dying, sometimes their own living." The silence was suffocating. "Everyone alive has never known anything but starvation," Caspian continued. "It's in their bones, their blood, their genetic memory. The creature Selene captured told the truth. Its grandparents starved. Every ancestor for 400 generations died of hunger." The third wave of attacks came exactly as predicted. 12 villages, 70 dead, 200 missing. And it wasn't just the Dragon Kingdom anymore. Reports flooded in from all 9 allied kingdoms. They're targeting food production areas, farming villages, fishing settlements, granaries. This is strategic. "Systematic harvesting," Emperor Emeritus Valerius agreed grimly. "The emergency cancel lasted 4 brutal hours. We hunt them to their realm and end this," Valerius declared, slamming his fist on the table. "Or we figure out why they're starving," Selene countered. "If our kingdom were dying, if we'd eaten everything, including each other, wouldn't we do the same? That doesn't excuse murder." "That's not excusing anything," Selene's voice cracked. "But if we just kill them all, what happens when the next desperate realm starts raiding? We need to understand the root cause." Empress Emeritus Luna surprised everyone by agreeing. "As much as I hate what they've done, we can't react with blind violence." "Then what do you propose?" someone demanded. Selene straightened. "We secure our defenses first. Make it impossible for them to ever breach our borders again. Then," she took a breath, "then we help them restore their realm, remove the desperation, remove the violence." The room exploded into an argument. Chapter 3. After the council ended, Selene stood alone before the map. "We have to help them," she said as Caspian approached. "If we restore their realm, they won't need to raid anymore." Caspian was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was gentle but firm. "Selene, your compassion is extraordinary, but I need you to think about something first." He took her hand. "The families. Right now, there's a mother who will never hold her son again, a father whose daughter was taken, children who watched their parents being dragged away, screaming." Selene's breath caught. If you propose helping the demons before addressing their pain, Caspian continued softly, they'll see it as betrayal. They'll think you care more about monsters than their dead. Shame washed over her. She was right. I'm a terrible empress. How could I be so callous? Stop. Caspian pulled her close. You are a 19-year-old girl trying to become the mother of every living being. You're trying to hold the grief of victims and the desperation of the starving in your heart simultaneously. He pulled back to meet her eyes. That's not weakness. That's the greatest virtue a ruler could possess. But the families. Yes, the families come first, Caspian agreed. You go to them, you mourn with them, you show them their loved ones mattered. Then you propose helping the demons. In that order. Selene nodded, wiping tears. Thank you for keeping me grounded. That's what I'm here for. Chapter 4. The first house belonged to Sarah, widow of Marcus, a guard who died defending Millhaven. When Sarah opened a door and saw the Empress, she froze. Your Majesty, you came. Inside, 3 children sat at the table, staring at nothing. The eldest, barely 8, looked up. Are you here to bring Papa back? Celine's heart shattered. She knelt before them, tears streaming. No, sweetheart, I can't bring your Papa back, and I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Your Majesty, Sarah said through her own tears. Marcus died with honor. But I should have prevented it. Your Majesty, Sarah knelt beside her, taking her hands. We don't blame you. We blame the demons. We blame our ill fate. But not you. How can you be so generous? Because at least we have food, Sarah said quietly. At least we're not so hungry we have to eat our children. The demons are cursed. They've starved so long they forgot how to be people. That's sad, even though they killed Marcus. Selene stared at this family, drowning in grief, yet still able to recognize the suffering that created their tragedy. Tell me about Marcus, Selene said, sitting at their table. Tell me who he was. For 2 hours, she listened. She visited 43 more families that day, then 43 more the next. Each visit was its own devastation, but everywhere she found unexpected grace. At least we're not eating each other, one elderly dragon said. That's not an excuse, but it makes me wonder, if we were in their position, would we be any different? By the end of 2 weeks, Selene had visited every family across all 9 kingdoms. She'd wept with hundreds of grieving people. She'd heard every story, remembered every face. When she returned, exhausted and wrung out, Caspian was waiting. How do you feel? Like I finally understand what it means to rule, not from a throne, but from the broken places where people suffer. Good. Because now, when you propose helping the demons, you'll do it as someone who's earned the right to ask for trust. Chapter 5. Selene assembled all 9 kingdom rulers. Before anything else, she declared, we ensure this never happens again. I'm proposing a complete barrier system, magic that will detect and prevent any dimensional tears. The vote was unanimous. What followed was the most ambitious magical construction in history. Selene worked alongside Empress Emeritus Luna, Emperor Emeritus Ryu, and Emperor Emeritus Valerius to craft massive master stones. They stood in the palace courtyard, surrounded by the most powerful mages from all 9 kingdoms. We invoke ancient protection, Selene intoned, power flowing through her. Let no dimensional tear open within these boundaries. Luna added silver lights spiraling around the stone. Ryu's dragonfire joined the work. Valerius wove the final binding with 3,000 years of experience. The Master Stone blazed, sending protective pulses rippling outward. Across all 9 kingdoms, smaller barrier stones activated in perfect synchronization. 3 weeks of exhausting work, but when complete, Selene stood at the highest tower and looked out with magical sight. She saw shimmering curtains of protective energy, overlapping in complex geometric patterns. "It's insurance," she said to Caspian. "Insurance I never have to visit another grieving family." She also tripled guard salaries, provided better equipment, and ensured every village had 20 trained warriors with emergency communication crystals. Lord Castellan, who'd been skeptical of her leadership, approached after a council meeting. "Your Majesty, I had doubts about your ability to rule, but these defenses, this commitment, you've proven yourself a true empress." He paused. "Whatever you propose next, I have your support." "I want to help the demons," Selene said quietly, "restore their realm so they never raid again." Castellan was quiet, then nodded. "With these defenses in place, we can afford that risk. I'm listening." Chapter 6. Selene called a kingdom-wide assembly, the first in 500 years. Thousands packed the Grand Plaza when she took the stage, the crown of creation gleaming. "3 months ago we were attacked," she began. 70 killed, 200 missing. I've spent these months doing 2 things: mourning with every affected family and creating defenses to ensure this never happens again. She paused, meeting eyes in the crowd. "Those defenses are now complete. We are safe. The demons cannot reach us anymore." Cheers erupted. "But now I ask you to consider something difficult." The plaza quieted. "I want to help the demons. I want to restore their dying realm." The reaction was explosive, half outraged, half confused. "I know what you're thinking," Selene said. "Why help monsters? Because the alternative is worse." She gestured, and magical projections appeared, the abyss as it once was, then its terrible decay. "They didn't attack because they're evil. They attacked because they've been starving for 10,000 years. They tried everything to save themselves. Everything failed. Eating each other was their last resort." "That doesn't excuse it," someone shouted. "No, it doesn't, but it explains it. And understanding the cause means we can eliminate it." She leaned forward. "If we restore their realm, they won't need to raid anymore. No more deaths, no more terror. We end the cycle not through violence, but by removing the desperation." "And if they betray us," Lord Castellan called, "then we're protected by barriers they cannot breach," Selene replied. "And then we respond with overwhelming force, knowing we tried peace first." Sarah stood, asking to speak. Selene granted it immediately. "My husband died in these raids," Sarah said, voice carrying across the silent plaza. "I know grief, but I also know Marcus believed violence should be the last resort." She looked around. "We're protected now, so we can afford to be merciful. We can try the harder path, because if we just kill them all, what message does that send?" The vote took 3 days. When Caspian emerged with the results, his voice was amazed. 62% voted yes. Selene exhaled in relief. "Then we proceed." She turned to her council. "Prepare a delegation. I'm going to negotiate with the demons directly." "Your Majesty, that's too dangerous," Captain Terran protested. "They need to know we're serious, and I need to see their realm with my own eyes." The journey through the stabilized portal was tense. Selene emerged into the abyss with a small diplomatic team and 50 guards. The realm was worse than she'd imagined. Gray ash stretched endlessly under a dim twilight sky. The air was thin and bitter. Nothing lived except the demons themselves. Emperor Azeroth met them in the ruins of his capital, surrounded by thousands of skeletal demons who watched with desperate, hungry eyes. "Empress Selene," Azeroth said, his voice carrying ancient weariness, "why have you come?" "To negotiate your salvation," Selene said clearly, "and to demand the release of all prisoners immediately." "We released them 3 days ago. all 243. They should have reached your kingdoms by now. Selene's eyebrows rose in surprise, but she pressed forward. Then we can begin building trust. I've come to offer help restoring your realm. We can purify your soil, make it live again, but it will take time. Time we don't have, Azeroth said bitterly. My people are starving now. We can barely stand. You speak of months, perhaps years of work. We'll be dead long before your soil purification succeeds, if it even works at all. Murmurs rippled through the gathered demons, desperate, hopeless sounds. Then I propose this, Selene said. I will provide food for all your people, massive supplies delivered weekly as long as it takes to restore your realm, enough to feed every demon until your own crops can sustain you. The silence that followed was absolute. Why? Azeroth demanded, suspicion heavy in his voice. Why would you feed the monsters who killed your people? What do you want in return? Our servitude, our souls, our complete submission? I want you to stop starving, Selene said simply, because starving people become desperate people. Desperate people do terrible things. Remove the starvation, remove the desperation, remove the violence. It's that simple. Nothing is that simple, Azeroth said flatly. You expect me to believe you'll just feed us out of compassion? No ruler in any realm has ever shown us such mercy. Why should the Dragon Empress be different? Because I've seen what 10,000 years of starvation has made you, and I refuse to let it continue, not when I have the power to stop it. She gestured to the massive containers her team had brought. This is the first shipment, enough food for 1 week for 50,000 demons. It's yours, freely given, no strings attached. I'll send another shipment next week and every week after until your realm can feed itself. Azeroth stared at the containers, then at Selene, his burning eyes searching for the trap. And the soil restoration? Send us samples of your dead earth, Selene said. My scholars will work to find a way to purify it, but that research takes time. In the meantime, you eat, you recover, you stop dying. The demon emperor was quiet for a long moment. Around him, 50,000 demons held their breath, their skeletal forms trembling with desperate hope and learned caution. For millennia, we've begged other realms for help, Azeroth said finally, his voice breaking. We've appealed to gods, to kingdoms, to anyone who would listen. Everyone refused us. Everyone turned away from our suffering. And now you, the one realm we've harmed the most, offers freely what no one else would give. He bowed deeply, something that clearly cost him immense pride. We accept, Empress, and we pray to whatever gods still listen that we can prove worthy of your mercy. The first shipment was distributed immediately. Selene watched as demons received food with shaking hands, some weeping, others laughing in disbelief, many simply standing in stunned silence. An elderly demon approached her, tears streaming down his gaunt face. Empress, he whispered, I'm 900 years old. I've never eaten without counting every bite, without calculating how long I could survive on each scrap. To have food given freely, with no cost, no sacrifice required? His voice broke. Thank you. Thank you. But as the week progressed, Selene received troubling reports from the ambassadors she'd left behind. Your Majesty, Lord Ambassador Kieran's message came through the communication crystal. The demons are rationing themselves. Despite having abundant food, they're eating small portions. Many are saving most of their rations, hoarding them, old habits from millennia of starvation. Their hunger is vast. Even with full meals, their bodies are so damaged by generational starvation that they can't properly absorb nutrients. They need time to heal, but they're terrified the food will stop coming. Selene understood immediately. When you'd spent 10,000 years begging for food and receiving nothing but rejection, trusting in continued abundance was almost impossible. So she doubled the next shipment, then tripled the one after that. "Your Majesty," her treasurer protested, "at this rate, we're spending enormous resources." "Then we spend them," Selene said firmly. "They need to know the food won't stop. They need to believe it before they can heal." Week after week, massive food shipments arrived in the abyss, and slowly, tentatively, the demons began to trust. They ate a little more each day. They stopped hoarding quite so desperately. Color began returning to their scales. Strength returned to their movements. "They're terrified of offending you," Kieran reported. "After millennia of rejection, after finally finding someone willing to feed them, they don't want to do anything that might jeopardize this relationship. They police themselves strictly. Any demon who shows aggression or speaks against the Dragon Kingdom is immediately reprimanded by their peers." In the demon capital, parents taught children a new prayer. "Bless the silver empress who feeds us when we were dying. Bless the Dragon Kingdom which shows mercy when we deserved none. May we prove worthy of this gift. May we never forget this kindness." Emperor Azeroth sent soil samples as promised, along with detailed reports on the abyss's environmental decay. And every week, without fail, Selene's supply ships arrived. By the third month, the demons had stopped looking like walking corpses. By the sixth month, they'd regained enough strength to begin helping with the restoration work themselves. "We can help," Azeroth insisted when the agricultural mission finally arrived. "We're strong enough now. Put us to work. We want to earn the salvation, not just receive it." And so they did. Demons and kingdom citizens worked side by side, transforming the abyss from wasteland to farmland, one purified field at a time. Chapter 7. With steady food supplies flowing to the abyss, Selene turned her full attention to the permanent solution, purifying the dead soil. The first attempt was a disaster. The finest agricultural mages tried every purification method on the soil samples Azeroth had sent. Nothing worked. "The corruption is too deep," the head mage reported. "This is dimensional decay. We don't have the power." Alone in her chapel, Selene knelt and prayed through the night. "Please," she whispered, "if there's any way to save them, show me." Exhaustion claimed her on the chapel floor. She dreamed. In the dream, she stood in Queen's Haven, her grandmother's garden. But it was different, more vibrant, glowing with inner light. White lilies bloomed everywhere. A presence stood beside her, vast, ancient, infinitely kind, the dragon god himself. "You seek to heal what has been poisoned for millennia. Your magic alone cannot accomplish this, but there is a way. Please tell me." The morning dew of the white lily carries the purest life energy in all creation. When collected before sunrise by pixies, it can purify even the deepest corruption. The dream shifted, showing tiny pixies collecting glowing dewdrops in crystal vessels. "But we need thousands of drops," Selene protested. "Then grow more lilies. Your grandmother's magic can accomplish this." "Why are you helping demons who've been cursed?" "They were never cursed by us," the dragon god said with deep sadness. "Their realm died naturally. We cannot prevent such cycles. But we provide tools for those brave enough to try healing. You, Selene, have that courage. Use it wisely." Selene awoke at sunrise and ran. She burst into Empress Emerita Lilybell's chambers, breathless. "Grandmother, the dragon god showed me the lilies, the morning dew. We can save them." Working together, they expanded Queen's Haven. Under Lilybell's guidance, thousands of white lilies bloomed within days. The pixies came willingly. "We are honored to help heal a dying realm," their leader said. Every morning, before sunrise, they collected dew in specially prepared crystal vessels. After a week, they had had enough. Caspian brought the dead soil samples from the abyss. Selene held her breath as they added a single drop of lily dew to the gray ash. The ash began to glow. Gray faded to brown. Real, living brown. Tiny green shoots emerged, life spontaneously generating where death had reigned. "By all the gods," Caspian whispered, "it worked!" "We can save them," Selene said through tears of joy. "We can actually save them!" Chapter 8. Selene assembled a team of 200 royal agricultural envoys, court magistrates, master builders, diplomatic ambassadors. Captain Theron led 50 guards. "Your guards protect our people," Selene instructed. "They don't threaten the demons. This is a mission of peace." Lord Ambassador Chiron led the delegation. They brought purified water blessed by the gods themselves, water that can heal their poisoned soil and allow crops to grow again. And they brought knowledge, agricultural techniques from our realm that can work even in shadow and twilight. "What does she ask in return?" Azeroth asked carefully. "We've already released all prisoners and ceased all raids, as promised. The weekly food shipments have saved us from extinction. What more must we do?" Chiron pulled out Selene's letter and read, "After your realm recovers and your people are healthy again, you will face justice for the lives taken and the harm caused. Justice will be served, but only after mercy has had chance to heal. That is all I ask. Accountability, but not before you have the strength to bear it." "Then we have a foundation of trust. Let us begin." The work started immediately. Master Farmer Aldrich demonstrated mixing lily-blessed water into dead ash. The demons watched in silent awe as gray turned to brown, then tiny green shoots emerged. The moment the demons witnessed the light returning to their land, a hush fell across the crowd. Azeroth stepped to his knees. "Green," an elderly demon whispered, weeping. "I'm 900 years old, and I've never seen that color except in paintings." "They're real," Aldrich said gently, "and soon your entire realm will be covered in green." Over the following months, the transformation was miraculous. Fields became rich brown earth with sprouting crops, water purification centers pumped clean water. The demons changed. Color returned to their scales, strength to their movements. Their eyes, which had burned only with hunger, now held something else. Hope. By the 3rd month, rain fell in the abyss for the first time in millennia. Demons stood in the streets, faces upward, letting water wash over them. Many wept. Others laughed. "Real rain," an ancient demon said through tears. "The realm is healing. The gods haven't abandoned us." And with full bellies, their demonic power returned, abilities suppressed by starvation for 10,000 years. Emperor Azarath called an assembly in the transformed plaza. "My people," he said, "we have been given a gift beyond measure. The 9 kingdoms saw us at our worst and chose to save us. Our power has returned. With it comes responsibility." 50,000 demons knelt as one. Speaking in unison, they made an unbreakable vow, binding themselves with their true names, the most sacred oath in demon culture. "By our true names we swear, we will never kill for food again. We will never raid other realms. We will devote ourselves to the God of creation. We will serve the 9 kingdoms as loyal allies for all generations. We will remember our shame and never become those monsters again. This we swear, on pain of losing our very souls." The vow resonated through reality itself, binding into the fabric of existence. Lord Ambassador Chiron sent a message to Selene. "Your Majesty, they have sworn an unbreakable oath. The transformation is complete. They are a people reborn through mercy." Chapter 9. 1 year after restoration began, Selene stood before the memorial wall, polished black stone inlaid with silver and gold, bearing every victim's name. The demons had requested to visit the Dragon Kingdom to express gratitude. Selene firmly refused. My people cannot forget the horror you caused. Your transformation is real, but the families are still grieving. Seeing you here would reopen wounds. Then what would you have us do? Your punishment, you will not leave your realm for 1 generation, 50 years. Use that time to rebuild, to prove through actions you've truly changed. Reflect on what desperation made you. Teach every child about the cost. Only after 50 years of demonstrated peace will we consider allowing travel. And after 50 years? If you've proven yourselves, if no demon has broken the vow, if you've made genuine amends, then we welcome you as true allies. Your children can marry our children. Your scholars may study in our universities. The abyss will become the 10th realm in truth. Azareth accepted without argument. More mercy than we deserve. 50 years is nothing compared to 10,000. We will use this time wisely. True to their word, the demons remained in the abyss. But they thrived. They rebuilt their capital with stunning architecture, developed new magical techniques combining dimensional abilities with agricultural magic, established universities studying history, ethics, and philosophy. Most remarkably, they created the Day of Remembrance, an annual fast remembering hunger and teaching children about the consequences of desperation. We were monsters, not by choice, but by circumstance. The 9 kingdoms could have killed us. Instead, they saved us. This is why we must never forget. In the 9 kingdoms, villages that had lived in fear now thrived in security. Families healed slowly, but genuinely. On the anniversary of Marcus's death, Selene visited Sarah's family at the cemetery. "Your Majesty," Sarah said, surprised, "you came." I promised I'd never forget. Sarah's eldest daughter, now 9, looked up. "Mama says you saved the monsters who killed Papa. She says that was brave." "Do you think it was brave?" asked Selene, kneeling. The girl thought carefully. "I think it was hard. Killing them would have been easier. But you did the hard thing so other kids don't lose their papas. That's what being an empress means, right? Doing the hard things?" Tears pricked Selene's eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, that's exactly what it means." The noble council met to review the situation. Lord Castellan stood. "Your Majesty, I thought mercy was weakness, but I was wrong." He gestured to reports. "The demons honored every agreement. Our people are completely safe. You solved a problem that violence alone could never solve. You have my complete support." The vote to continue support passed unanimously. 5 years later, on Selene's wedding day, a gift arrived from the abyss. A crown crafted from pure shadow crystal, shaped to complement the crown of creation. The letter read, "Empress Selene. We call this the crown of compassion, forged from materials that can only be shaped by those who've known true desperation and chosen mercy anyway. In these 5 years, not one demon has broken our vow. Not one has attempted unauthorized travel. Not one has raised a hand in violence. We are becoming the people we should have been, the people your mercy allowed us to become. 45 years remain. We accept it gladly and work toward the day we can truly call ourselves the 10th realm, as equals who've earned that honor through sustained peace. Thank you, Selene Irian Sunwing, for seeing us not as we were, but as we could be." Selene placed the crown of compassion beside the memorial wall. Together, they told a complete story: the cost of violence, the power of mercy, the possibility of redemption. At the wedding reception, Caspian pulled Selene close as they danced under the stars. 5 years ago, you were a terrified 19-year-old. Look at what you've built." "We built it," she corrected. "All of us, together." The Silver Age, that's what historians are calling your reign, an age of unprecedented peace built on compassion rather than conquest. It's not finished. 45 years until the demons can truly join us, a lifetime of work to maintain these bonds. Then it's a good thing we have eternity together, Caspian said, kissing her softly. As fireworks exploded overhead, magical displays from all 9 kingdoms with shadow fire from the abyss mixed in, Selene felt the crown of creation pulse contentedly. She had done the impossible. She had turned enemies into allies, monsters into people, desperation into hope. And in doing so, she proved the greatest power any ruler could possess was not strength or magic or military might. It was the courage to choose compassion, even when vengeance would have been easier. The Silver Age had truly begun. Epilogue. In the annals of the 10 realms, they would tell this story for millennia, how Empress Selene Irian's Sunwing chose to save rather than destroy, how she saw past monstrosity to desperation and offered salvation where others would have given extinction, how she proved that even the most broken things could heal, that compassion, true compassion, offered without condition but with accountability, could transform everything. The abyss became known as the realm of second chances. The memorial wall became a pilgrimage site for those seeking to understand the cost of hatred and the power of forgiveness. And Selene herself became legend, not as a warrior who conquered enemies, but as a ruler who transformed them into family. They called it the Silver Age, an era when children grew up not fearing demons, when mixed-race families were celebrated, and when compassion was valued as highly as strength, and when justice and mercy learned to walk hand in hand. And it all began with one impossible choice: to offer help instead of hatred, salvation instead of vengeance, hope instead of despair. That choice changed everything.